Hello friends, having finished the full-on energy guide, it only makes sense that you do survivability next. In this video I will be showing off every single relevant way of surviving that's accessible to any Warframe, so no Warframe specifics. Subzooms are allowed though. Many ways intervene with each other, but I will try to keep it as organized as possible. I will be explaining which ones are universally good, which ones are good for specific tasks, and which ones are just so incredibly dogshit. Starting off strong with the most controversial one, health and armor tanking. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest here, it's not actually that bad. This is most notably achieved by going triple Umbra on your frame. Sometimes Arcane Guardian, sometimes Arcane Blessing. The Umbra mods not only give us really decent health and armor, but 77% strength as well. So let's compare that to other means of getting strength. Here with Blind Rage, Fleeting Expertise and Primed Continuity we get 199%, and let's say that 95 duration and 105 efficiency evens out, even though it doesn't, but yeah, you're sacrificing 22 strength to get all of this health and armor. This seems like a pretty decent deal on paper. Yes, you can never go level cap by face tanking the enemies, maybe with 4 citrines, but regardless, not everything needs to be for level cap. The highest level enemy you will find by default in Warframe is going to be like 5 to 600 in Temporal Archimedia. And you can definitely health tank your way through it. So the positives are that it doesn't require effort to pull off, you just need to exist. But the negatives are that you still might get one-shot by acolytes or other boss-like enemies, so it lacks that consistency. But at least with the Valkyrie rework, we can see that DE understands that health tanking definitely needs some more work, considering adding like 1 gazillion armor and health, yet putting a passive that prevents death. That seems counterintuitive to me, so hopefully health tanking does get a rework in the near future. Also remember that every 300 armor gives you 100% more effective HP. Even though the number barely moving here can be misleading, you can do all the armor calculations from the armor wiki. On the other hand, blue Archon Shards for health and armor. This is just so terrible. I wouldn't wish this upon my biggest enemy. Like, I can think of some minor cases where it would maybe be justifiable, like if your frame has really low armor or something, but I would personally just stay away from this. Like, just run. There is so much better shards to run. 225 health versus 75% crit damage or 37% cast speed. Give me a break. Also, these other shards that have something to do with health, just no. Now, damage reduction percentage. This is what actually makes health tanks viable. Mods like adaptation and other means of damage reduction, but most are frame specific. Adaptation is not fully black and white, there is some math to be done with enemies doing mixed damage hits and how it stacks, etc, but it's very often a good option on health tank builds. With more damage reduction percentage, Arcane Blessing becomes better, especially if you are playing a health tank frame without playing triple Umbra, which is still possible. Then we have Eclipse. With the nerf, it becomes a pretty insignificant damage boost compared to what it once was, but now we have a 75% damage reduction on demand. You can do pretty stupid things with this, like on this Neza build. Just sit back and relax and tell the enemies, don't do too much damage, lil bro. Invulnerability or shield gate. This is one of the most consistent and most meta strategies of surviving out there. Some frames can do it by default, but some frames do need catalyzing shields. You just need to pair it with at least one Augur mod or Brief Respite for the whole 1.3 second invulnerability. It's very straightforward. Whenever your shield breaks, you wait just a little bit. I don't suggest waiting more than 1 second, cause it's hard to guess exactly 1.3 seconds, and just cast any skill. You can instantly cast a skill to be 100% safe, but this is only reliable if you're not under constant fire, since it will drain your energy very fast. Now this can get a bit tedious sometimes, so people often tend to play Rolling Guard as well with it. And if you have mod slots, I do recommend it. If used off cooldown, it gives you 43% immortality for free. Stagger resistance is also very important for shield gating builds, either that be handspring, primed sure-footed, or anything else. If you get knocked down at a bad timing, it's all over. Energy tanking. This is very goofy, but technically it does work. You achieve this by going quick thinking and hunter's adrenaline. So this will basically fill your energy whenever you take damage to health, and prevent lethal damage consuming energy instead of health. This on paper once again seems really good. You just get a lot more health technically, and you can go even further with the build by going with Arcane Battery, but for this you need some armor, not exactly on Wukong, but you get the point. And to get armor you probably need triple Umbra, and since your base armor still sucks, you probably need Arcane Guardian. Congratulations, you successfully used your whole build for one thing. Like, you get the problem of this, it's a no from me. Shield Regen. This is a very underrated strategy and it is very strong. And the best part is you only need two mods, Fast Deflection and Vigilante Vigor. And we have another arcane to accomplish this, which is Arcane Aegis, which literally makes you immortal if it procs. Like, literal immortality for 12 seconds. So this is definitely a little less safe than shield gating, of course, and it does require decent positioning. You're allowed to add a rolling guard as well to make it a lot safer. This is definitely one of the lowest investment survival strategies, which works almost perfectly with a little bit of help elsewhere. Stealth. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of ways to get stealth universally, but we recently, with the addition of Sight 09, got a powerful Helminth option, which is Evade. But there is a big downside, a Warframe player having to aim. That's preposterous. Too long didn't read version. Evade, good. Yes. Toxocist. Additional ways of acquiring stealth is through companions. Hurascubro with Stalk mod, but the downside is if you shoot you do get revealed, so it's only really good for ability nukers, and Shade with the Ghost mod, which is good for literally nothing. Sometimes it doesn't shoot, sometimes it doesn't stealth, sometimes it doesn't do anything. 0 out of 10? Fuck. Operator. Now we are getting to the good stuff. Operator has access to the absolute 100% best way to survive, and that is Vazarin. Protective Sling is just ridiculous. 5 seconds of invulnerability and healing to yourself and any nearby teammate, and you can just keep spamming it. Only thing you have to do is Void Sling and quickly switch to Warframe by using melee, and to make this more consistent you should slot Magus Cloud on. So the secret to Immortality is just a focus school and one Operator Arcane. But unfortunately this is probably the least fun method, since sometimes you will find yourself being in Operator more than your Warframe. I do use this a lot in Elite Archimedia, since options there are very limited. Then we have another two Operator Arcanes that are worth mentioning. Magus Elevate, which just heals your Warframe. I always have this on unless I am going for level cap. You can deny enemy hit procs or just heal up the chip damage you have taken over time. Then Magus Lockdown, which offers very strong crowd control when you find yourself in a sticky situation, and it's very good for demolists. And lastly, we got Last Gasp, which technically is a survivability tool since you can revive yourself with it, but please don't play around getting downed. This is just last resort option. I kinda forgot to mention Guardian Break in the shield regen section. Oops. Your first ability will make a barrier. When it breaks, you get a big shield regen. Not as good of an effect as Arcane Aegis, but a lot more consistent one. Healing and Regen. This is obviously paired with builds that have at least decent amount of health. We have two arcanes that serve the purpose. Arcane Grace, which gives us health when we get hit. It's a very strong arcane for health tanking builds, and Arcane Reaper, which is meant for melee builds. Not only gives us regen, but flat amount of armor as well. This is really good on frames with low base armor, since the percentage gets increased more. So we have an example build of Excalibur, but it really works on practically any melee oriented build. It works fairly comfortable till like level 5 to 600, which is most of the content in Warframe anyway, with the downside of health tanking that were mentioned before. Then we have Helminths, which provide crowd control. The most notable ones are Silence from Banshee, which just pretty much stuns the enemies, and Gloom, which serves a similar purpose, but with more energy cost. Constant slow, and on top of that you also get lifesteal, but of course it's a channeled ability and those are much harder to build around. Companions that prevent carpeting. First off, we have Panzer Vulpa. This is just an incredible pet. With the combination of Martyr Symbiosis and Tech Assault, you potentially have even more than one extra life. Secondary, we have Vaska Kavat, which works very similarly. Instead of preventing you being downed, it just revives you. Do keep in mind that it does have a 2-minute cooldown, so in the end, this method is not only one you should be using because it's not enough, but you should use it as an addition to another. Like this, in case you mess up, you are still fine. Overguard is just so OP. Gives you another layer of protection above your shields and gives you status immunity. And there is two ways to get it universally, Dante and Styanak Specters. I do suggest Dante since he is a lot more consistent as a Spectre. You will get plenty of Overguard boosting your survivability by a lot. Even 1 star is totally fine. You should be using a 1-star Spectre on whatever you use the most, cause it's the cheapest. The second way is summoning your Archon. This gives you only 2k Overguard, but if you don't have Prime Surefooted and you are going in an Exterminate with an AoE weapon, this can be very handy. And lastly, we have Parkour, probably the most important survivability tool. As long as you are moving, the enemies are less accurate. Roll dodge actually gives you 75% damage reduction, and you can roll dodge through heat waves, for example, rendering them totally useless. Then we have Parkour Velocity Yellow Shards. Again, if you are faster with your movement, enemies have less chance to hit you. In general, I find Parkour Velocity very important and I always have it on one way or another. Either Archon Shards, Parkour mods, Amalgam mods or Priodos. Lastly, we have this funny arcane, which I honestly haven't tried much, but it does have potential. Arcane Double Back, giving you 25% damage reduction per roll dodge, double jump and bullet jump respectively. That's gonna be all for today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and/or subscribe. And if you have more ways of surviving that were not mentioned in the video, do share them down in the comments. If this video gets 69 likes, I will touch grass. I will catch you in the next one.